Welcome back. Ethel Kuuya is a culture transformation advisor, leadership master, international speaker, as well as an entrepreneur and award winner who has spent 2 decades working in transformation and culture, spanning 3 continents, 46 countries, and thousands of leaders impacted. She has developed culture masterclasses and programs that have transformed organizations and the lives of countless professionals, altering their trajectory. She's in Namibia on a short visit, and we're glad to have her in studio as our Women Crush Wednesday today. Ethel, good evening and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
This is not your first visit to Namibia, no? But how are you finding it this time around?
Not my first visit, my first since before COVID, and I've really been inspired by how resilient the Namibian economy seems to have been after COVID, and of course all the development in the last decade since I've been here.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Quite a few titles that I've introduced you with there. Culture Transformational Advisor, that one, pops up to me firstly. I'd like you to first of all explain what that is and also how you got into this field of work.
Okay. So culture in reference to organizational culture or the culture that exists within entities, be they corporate, public, etc., which is basically how people behave and interact with each other, and that influences how they work and what results they produce. And how I got started in culture work is I've been a strategist since the beginning of my career. I've been an advisor / consultant, all 20-something years of that. And very early on, I was curious as to why it seemed that organizations that seem to set up what appear to be very clever strategies don't execute the strategies. They don't implement what they say they will do. And that got me on the path of being interested in why people behave the way they do and why they don't do the things that they say they will do from an organizational perspective. And that led me down the path of leadership, understanding how leaders interact with an organization and whether or not they stimulate performance in people. And that then took me through to the space of culture. So I actually work in the intermarriage of culture and leadership because the two are inseparable. A culture results from how leaders show up, how they behave. So that's how I got involved in that work and in that space, and it's been riveting to say the least. I've been inspired, but I've also been disappointed by leadership and how people behave in those spaces. So very exciting field for me.
You said you described as what you do not motivational, as motivational. So how would you then sell it?
Okay, so the work that I do is certainly not motivational. I look at motivational work or talks as, when people need a boost for what they're doing. But the work that I do and focus on is deeper than that, in the sense that I want to look fundamentally at the behaviors and the philosophies and the values that are driving people and how they behave over time. So when I wrote the book, Leading Beyond Now, it was coming from the perspective of trying to answer the question, how can we show up differently as leaders in different spheres, whether it's government, whether it's private sector, public sector? How do we show up differently? So my work looks deeply at the dynamics of environments. It looks at the characters, the decisions, the commitments that leaders make or don't make when they pursue their work.
Tell us a bit more about this book, Leading Beyond Now. Of course, I think it's quite a journey when you go from what you do and then decide to become an author as well.
So Leading Beyond Now, the full title of the book is Leading Beyond Now, the 5 commitments that will make Africa thrive. And the reason I wrote that book is for a long time I was trying to find what needs to be done differently. Why, as African countries and entities and institutions, despite how different we are, why aren't we more than we can be? So that led me down the path of trying to look at leadership differently. So there's leadership, the school of thought around leadership often speaks about leadership characteristics, leadership skills, leadership, everything that appears to be outside a person and something that people can gain through education or through training. But I've really come to realize that effective leaders work as an extension of their philosophies and what they believe. So I came up with 5 commitments. Really, I've come up with them over the years, and finally they came together in this book. And the 5 commitments of being able to lead beyond now that I came up with really speak to how do we need to be as leaders to make decisions that are effective beyond the point in time that you are leading. That's the beyond now part of it. So it's not so much about leaving a legacy, but it's about how do we make decisions and build countries, institutions, or businesses that are generationally sound over many generations,
right,
and not just beneficial at this point. And the 5 commitments that I believe, if adopted as philosophies or if leaders took those in, they would transform. Whether you're leading in the home or you're leading in the classroom or you're leading in the president's office.
Are the principles not the same?
The principles are the
right,
same. They're the same. And the 5 commitments are, firstly, to be a worthy custodian. So leaders need to commit to being a worthy custodian. And that basically means, can we trust you with the thing we've given you? If you leave someone with your child, they're a custodian of that child for that time, and you go away and you feel that, yes, I can trust this person. The second commitment leaders need to make is to be responsible with influence. Anyone in any position of leadership has a lot of influence. Even when you look at a child, you have a lot of influence over that child's mindset because they look to you for decisions.
Right.
The third commitment that leaders need to make is to curate wise counsel, to be very intentional about the advice you take from people and also the people around you. Because oftentimes leaders, if they don't challenge themselves about who's around them, they tend to surround themselves with people who are just reflecting their same thoughts. So they're creating an echo chamber of their own voice. And then the 4th commitment is to be curious. Innovation comes from curiosity, and I think as Africa we really need to drive hard in the curious space. And of course the last commitment is really about tethering yourself to noble values. People should pursue values that are grounding and that are grounded.
Fantastic. Well, Ethel, unfortunately we're out of time, but I'm curious to know the book is available and you know where one could get it.
The book is available from the 1st of November online. You can get the book across all the digital platforms, and it's in bookstores in the middle of November.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your time in Namibia, and all the best with your future endeavors.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
We'll be right back after this very brief break. Stay with us.